Alright, latest HackerBox number 27 just came in. Let's do a quick unboxing here. I'm also going to try and do a assembly video, which I've had some requests on. So I'll try and make this quick. Looks like a display, 2.4 inch TFT. This is the same as the one we had on another project. I don't remember which one that was, but those are always useful. ST-Link. Maybe some kind of programmer? I'm not sure. It looks like an Arduino Uno. Or very similar to one. No labeling or no words that I can see, but looks like an Uno clone. Although maybe it's not. Maybe this looks a little wider. HackerBoxes, custom PCBs of some kind, with some chips in there and some key rings. So maybe some type of thing we're putting on a USB keyring. Let's see if I'm not sure what those are. TF0. Whoops, I'm losing shit all over. Several surface mount components here, which we haven't had in a while, but those are always a nice little challenge to solder on. Some kind of USB devices, looks like. Which may be where that programmer comes in, if that's what that other thing is, to program the chips that are used on these. Those surface mounts. Jumper wires. Breadboard, which I haven't got in a while. These keypads, I have a few of these now. Webcam covers. These are nice. I have several of these on my laptops and my cinema display. Patch for the EEF, or EFF I mean. Big old breadboard. Some webcam stickers that you can use in the same idea of these. I've had some stickers that I got from Adafruit, but they kind of sucked and it was a pain to move them, so that looks like this one swivels with a magnet, which is kind of neat. The ones I have just slide back and forth, which is actually works really well. Another sticker. HackerBox 27, Cypherpunk. maybe this is not an Arduino Uno. This might be what it is. Universal B MCU. Must be, yeah. Looks very similar to an Uno though. Interesting. It'd be neat to see what kind of projects go along with this. So I'll try to do some assembly tonight or tomorrow, especially since some of this stuff is serverless mount. I need more practice on that. So here I have the SMT32 black pill, which starts with step 8 in the instructable. And essentially this is how I'm going to install all the headers. What I like to do is put it on a breadboard so I can make sure everything is held in place. And then it gives me a nice flat surface as well. So I'm going to do these two. Uh-oh. I didn't like some of these pins popping. Never had this happen before. Let's see if I can push these back down. Probably something to do with a cheap breadboard. Sometimes it's hard to push the headers into it. Alright, that should work. And make sure you get everything nice and snug in there so you don't have any gaps. And my soldering iron should be all warmed up. Let me turn the fan on. Still remember the first time I soldered up a Raspberry Pi. It took me forever. I was afraid I was going to mess something up. Now I just fly through these pins. Except my tip doesn't seem to be behaving today. Let's see if this other side goes a little bit easier. Seems okay. Now, pull this board back off. And then this one, hopefully it'll just stay in here and I can solder it. I'll just bring it up on here maybe. That should be good to go. Alright, I think I got the code all ready and everything installed on an Arduino IDE that I need. So now I just need to connect up the programmer and test out that this is working. So, according to the picture here, I'm gonna do E3, that's blue, to pin 8. And then I'm gonna do, actually let me connect all these right away, make it easier. Separate these a little bit. Okay. 3.3 volt, that's blue, goes to pin 8. And then the clock, we're going to make that green. Wait. This labeling is different than the pins in the image they show. Never mind, I just have it upside down. Yeah. So blue, 3.3 volts. I/O, I'm going to use green. And that's going to go to pin 2. Clock is yellow. 6. And the ground, orange, is going to go to pin 4. Alright. Pull the computer over here. Check that I'm still in frame. Alright, let me try and upload. And there we go, it's blinking every second. I'll change this real quick to do a 2-second on with a 1/10 of a second off. Seems to be backwards though. I'm gonna skip over the pill duck little project and go to the TFTX display. And I'm gonna try and use the same color of wires here that are in the graphic, so it's easier for you to follow along if you're trying to do this for your first time. So one thing I like to do is connect my ground and power from the board out to the rails and then use those. So I'm connecting the V3 pin out to red, and then the ground is usually black. That's right next to that pin, and that's going to go to the blue rail. And then from there I can follow down and connect along to the TFT. I just got to make sure I have this oriented properly. So our first pin is going to go to power. So that goes over into the red rail. And then the next pin is the ground. So that goes to our blue rail. Next pin is CS, which is gray. That's going to connect to A1 on the board. Yeah, this breadboard kind of sucks. Reset is purple. I need to switch a couple cables here, because those aren't going to work. Alright, purple is reset. That's going to go to A2. Next we have DC. It's going to go to 83. The MOSI, we're going to use green. It's going to go to A7. SCK is pink. I don't have any pink, so I'm going to use yellow. And looks like we're still using every pin on the display. It's going to go to A5. And next is our LED. It's red, so we're going back over to the power rail. And then last is the MISO, which is going to go to A6. So let me plug this back in. I have the sketch ready in Arduino. So let me tell it to upload. It's nice to see that the backlight worked, something connected properly. And there we go. Wow, that is really fast on this board. Whenever I've run one of these examples before, it's kind of slow. But yeah, there we go. You can see that it screen is working. Alright, now I'm on to step 12, which is using this Keypad matrix for input. I grabbed some 8 jumper wires here. It doesn't really matter what colors I use. I like to not use red and black unless they're just being used for power or ground, so that's why you don't see any red and blacks here. It just keeps it less confusing for me so I don't mess something up with power or ground and short something out. But anyways, this is pretty easy to connect. It just goes down the line. This is going to, first pin's going to go to B12. Oh, are these going to stay in though? That might be a little tricky. We'll see if I can make it work. And then B13. If you watch Scandal, you'll be thinking of that right now when you hear B13. Then we go to B14. 15. And A8. B5. Not sure why they skipped a bunch of pins. Might have to do with internal pull-ups or something like that. B6. And B7. Oop. Bent that, hopefully it still works. B7. Yeah, this breadboard is not the greatest. Everything seems to be holding, so let me plug this back in. See that wonderful demo still going crazy. Upload the keypad code from the Instructable. Check the camera, make sure you can still see here. Done uploading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not right. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, star, 0, pound, A, B, C, and D. Not sure what happened there when it screwed up. Unless I hit the wrong button and I didn't realize what I was hitting. But anyway, that's a pretty easy little example. So I will see what's next. It looks like that's it for the basic examples of this board. I'm not going to go into the pill duck or the Enigma machine code challenge. Those are things you can explore if anybody wants to do those on their own. I may go through them later, but I'm going to keep this video somewhat short, so I'm going to knock this out of the way and then I will get started on the kind of like the soldering challenge kit with the small components. So we'll see if I can do those without any mistakes. So I'm going to move on to this soldering challenge, and the first thing I wanted to do was to lay out the parts, because with these small things you want to make sure you know what you're dealing with, and I figured it might be good for someone trying this out for the first time to see these laid out. So the E0 is these big chips, A1 is the second biggest chips, the LEDs, which are RGB1, they're kind of like a square. If you look at them, they're like a kind of translucent, and you can see a little bit of color in there. I don't know if this will focus. Probably not. And then the Z1 is, it looks like a small black chip, kind of with 3 pins on one side and 2 on the other side, it looks like, with my bare eyes from pretty far back. R1 is your resistors, those are black. C4 is kind of the same size as the R1, and those are tan. And then C3 is just a smaller version, looks like, than C4, tan again. And then you have the couple switches. So you may want to lay out like this, just so you don't mess things up and end up connecting something in the wrong spot. And one more idea I had was to kind of plan out which order I'm going to solder these in, and I like to go by hard to easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is these big chips, because there's so many pins, and then I'll do these diodes, and then the LED, then the smaller chip, which actually shouldn't be too hard, and then they're small, but they're actually usually pretty easy as long as you can get them placed, because you just need to tack down each side, and then last, the switches are really easy. So that's kind of the order I'm going to try to do these in. Alright, so to orient this thing, I'm going to start with this big chip here. If you notice in the lower right hand corner there's a little dot, and then on the chip there's also a dot in one corner. That's going to line up with that same spot. You have to make sure to orient it the right way. I'm going to use a little flux pen here. To kind of get the pins wet. See how this works. Sometimes getting this in the right spot is the hardest part. We'll see if that holds true today. Looks like a pretty good spot. So now what I'm going to do is put some solder on the tip. Turn the fan on to help. Try and hold. Actually, no, I want to move that chip too far to one side. Now, hold the chip down. Sure if they're applied solder there, but we'll try and do an opposite corner and see if we're held in place. Seems like that worked. Yeah, nothing looks like it worked. So I have two opposite corners. And I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to apply a little solder to the tip. And then touch that tip to each pin. Hopefully it continues to work. I guess doing each pin more than once is better than at all. I think I'm done with that side. Hard to judge how close I am with this magnifying glass. I just learned a little trick. You can kind of see the solder flow up the pan if you hold it there for a second. Whew. I think we're done. I'm done with that chip. Yeah, I think that worked. That should be the hardest part. So let's see. The second thing I wanted to do was this diode. Pins are actually quite a bit smaller on here, but there are only 5 of them. So that's why I figured this would be a little easier than that big chip. Make sure the words are facing up. Pretty easy to see that there are 3 pins on the one side and 2 on the other side. What are the chances I got this right? It's hard to see, it's so small. So I'll do like I did with the other chip and just go back over every pin here. I hope that's right. Alright, now that's LED, which has to be oriented in a particular way. So it took a little bit of looking and having to pull out my little USB microscope to look at this LED really close. I think I have it figured out which way this connects. And in my case, the little green dot does point to the dot on the PCB, but what's confusing is that I think maybe the green dot doesn't mean anything because the green on the image here is pointing this way and mine is facing out that way. So what I did was looked at the red, green, blue and kind of figured out where those were on the chip, which appear to be up here to the right and the lower right, and then the lower left appears to come from the resistor, which is probably which may be the ground, and then the other 3 go off to the pins, which go high and low. So it appears that's how this should be connected in. I will crop in a still screenshot that I took from the microscope so you can kind of see, and I'll try and point that out. So here's a screenshot with the microscope looking close up. If you look real close at the LED, you can see in the kind of like the upper left pad, there's 4 quadrants. The upper left one, you see that kind of red square part, that's the red LED. And then the green and the blue are on the right, and you can see kind of like the lines tracing back to the lower left, which is the ground, and connects to the resistor that's right directly underneath it on the board. So the green dot happens to line up with the dot on the PCB, but I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody's LED. that, but anyways, that's just how it looks like it would connect for mine. So let me get some flux on here. These are seeming to want to hold on this thing. Alright, let's see how this works. Try to apply a little more solder to this thing. I guess, hopefully that's in there. Alright. On to A1. And again, this time the dot is in the upper right hand corner. Well, the way I'm looking at it, I guess it's going to be a little different for the camera. That. Guess I put some flux down first. Try and solder these in. These pins are bigger, but this seems to want to stick to the tip. I think I got those all connected. Alright, then we're going to go to this tiny capacitor. Man, that thing is small. Alright, that's C3. Goes. Under that chip I just put on, and I actually got a little bit of solder on one of those pads already. Put a whole bunch of solder on those pads, but shouldn't make a big deal. Alright, now the resistor. Should mention the capacitor and the two capacitors in the resistor. It doesn't matter which orientation they go on. They can go on either way. Try and solder these pads first. And well, we have C4, which is the other larger capacitor. Well, large relative to the tiny one. Try soldering those pads again. They seem to work pretty well. Alrighty. Last but not least, the button, which will be super easy compared to the rest of that stuff. Should do it. Alright, let me figure out how to program this thing and we'll see if it works.